us all, a Jesus-seeking generation. Equip us now for the work ahead as we follow you. This is your house. Oh, this is your house.
What's up, podcast listeners? Welcome to another episode of the House Podcast. This is actually episode 11.
Wow.
We're super stoked that, we've done this 11 times, bro.
Man.
That's crazy, right?
And you're still listening.
I know. Been a bit of a grind. All four of you. No, I'm just kidding. We actually, it was funny. I was looking at some of the stats. We added a few new subscribers even this week.
Did we really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the young adults are starting to get on board.
How much did you pay them?
Only like $100. No, I'm just kidding. I do not pay
do that.
anyone to listen. Please don't, because you're going to come to me and be like, hey, I'll listen. No, we're not doing that. And as per the usual, I am Caleb, your host. This is the co-host.
Chiefy,
Ethan Flanananery.
That's got a good ring to it.
Okay, do you like bananas?
Don't wear it out.
Don't wear it. Okay, and over on the far left, we've got our special guest. We'll let you introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Connor.
Connor.
Yeah.
C Money.
Love Connor.
I'm just kidding. That's the first time I've ever called him that.
Big C.
We're super excited to have Connor on the show today. I won't get into a lot of the reasons why, but the big one being he ties perfectly into the topic for conversation that we're going to be having in terms of our theological conversation today. We're going to be looking at stepping out in faith. When to step out in faith. How do you know if you're actually stepping out in faith? Faith over feelings, as I believe it's Forrest Frank says in one of his songs. How do we determine, right? Is this really like something I'm supposed to do as God is leading versus am I just like getting swept up in the moment? And how do I know? How can I have greater assurance in knowing that this is actually the Lord? So it's going to be a great conversation. But before we get to that, I almost just drooled on myself.
That's awesome.
Before we get to that, Connor, being a guest with us really for the first time. I know you've been on a game with us before, but what is something about you that not many people know?
So, not many people know that I love art, like drawing and
Let's go, Connor.
Wait, you
animation. I draw a little bit.
No way.
But
He draws a lot of it.
It's been busy, so I haven't been able to keep up with it. But
Okay.
that's something that I like to do.
Really?
That's so awesome.
Like, what kind of art specifically? Like, who would you say that maybe has been like an inspiration to you in terms of how you...
So, how I do things?
Yeah.
Cartoons. A big inspiration to me was Bob Ross.
Oh,
I
okay.
love Bob Ross.
Dude. Bob Ross is my
Relax.
man.
He's like...
That's my father.
No mistakes.
I
just
love Bob
handle
Ross.
accidents. Chiefy, I could see you being Bob Ross's son.
Yes.
Not
I am.
necessarily because of appearance.
Yes.
You're lacking a little bit in the curls department.
No, I'm not.
But more so attitude. You have a very, calm and happy, optimistic attitude about you. So.
Talk to me like that.
Ooh.
Oh, different attitude. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Bob Ross. Wow. So have you done like a lot of Bob Ross paintings? And
So
stuff?
no,
Oh,
but
okay.
he's inspired me to like.
He makes it look
get
so
into it.
easy.
Yeah, he does.
Dude, that guy.
Dude, what
he's
in the world?
like. Here we go. We got the mosaic blue. We'll put it up on the canvas, and he just
Cobalt
like
blue.
sneezes, and there's a cloud. Like, where did that just come from? Like, no, that did not just come off of that brush. Like,
Oh, man.
where? What in the name
I
of
swear,
time?
if you follow him step by step, you will not end up where he is.
No.
Not
I've
even close.
done 3 Bob Ross paintings. We've literally
Did you
ordered.
actually?
Dude, I probably have a picture of one of them on my phone.
Dude.
We've literally ordered like his paints, like you can
Oh,
buy
yeah, like
kits
the
and
oil?
stuff.
Okay.
We'll put them on the YouTube, TV.
You got all the
and,
stuff for it.
dude. And that's what I'm
Dude,
saying.
that's devout.
It's still
I didn't know
don't
you
be
tried
looking
that.
like that. I've
I
tried
love painting.
more than once,
Try
at least
acrylic.
twice, maybe 3, bro.
It's a little easier sometimes.
It ain't happening, bro.
Wow, I'm seeing so many photos I love right now.
Yeah, it's somewhere on here. I'm gonna see if I can
Yeah.
find it. But okay, so Connor, so art, and do you draw like frequently in your free time or?
Oh,
So
didn't know
I
you were
used
in the game.
to. Especially when I was in school.
Really?
Like
Passing time during the school
Yeah.
day?
So that's when I had a lot of
okay.
time to draw.
Yeah.
But it's been chaotic. So.
Really?
Awesome.
Well, it's not like you don't have a lot going on in your life right now, on the cusp of some major changes. Man, I really wish. Go ahead.
I was reading. Okay, so for Christmas, Angie got me a book on like the national parks. Like some of the national parks, and I love the national parks. I visited like a bunch of them.
Really? I
And
didn't know this about you.
like a bunch of artists came together, as far as I understand, and like made like their impressions of the park via like digital art.
Okay.
And it's a really, really beautiful book.
They like all contributed to like the same picture.
They all no. Like so, each park has its own picture that they like made for it.
That they drew for.
Yes, and like a memory of like the park and like commemorating and stuff like that.
Is the park not there anymore?
No, it's still there.
Okay.
And like your brain cells, and you make it. You open the book, you read it, and it's like tells you all about it. But in the intro, the foreword, it says. This was the first national park was like Yellowstone National Park.
Okay. Where's that at again?
I believe that's in is that Montana?
Something like that.
I think it's in Montana and Washington. Am I wrong about that?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So.
We're gonna go with
I
that.
thought Connor was about to McKee.
I thought he was like, oh, that was wrong.
That was
I was
not
like,
it.
you're probably right. I think it's
I
like
have no
Montana,
idea.
Washington area. But at the beginning of that foreword, it talks about how like artwork motivated like the construction of national parks, and it actually says that two artists went, like a painter and a photographer went to that area,
right.
Yellowstone, before it was created, took pictures of it and brought it back to the president and showed it to the president, and he was so moved by looking at the beautiful like pictures and paintings of that area that he determined to make it like a national park.
Wow.
before
Who was the
anybody.
president during that
I
time?
honestly don't remember, but it was before. I think it might have been Theodore Roosevelt, before most people like kind of migrated that way and took over that land and like made it more like urbanized.
That's pretty dope.
I know. I was like super. I just thought that was cool because artwork kind of like motivated that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that's kind of neat.
Motivated like a national treasure.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool.
Wild.
What's your national park gonna be, bro?
What?
What did you ask him?
I said, what's your national park gonna be?
I actually thought you asked him what's your nationality, and I was like, okay.
Big Bird.
I don't have it on my phone, bro. I'm actually really confused. I definitely thought I had one. It looks good objectively, I think, which is why I thought I had a picture of it. But if you see what I was trying to draw, it's not. No.
Wait,
not
draw
quite.
or paint?
Paint.
Oh, okay.
Right, I forget.
Okay.
I'm clearly not an artist. But I'll tell you this, Connor, like real talk. A lot of people I think tend to think I'm artistic because of music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have so much reverence and respect for those who really can draw because I am so bad at it.
It's really impressive.
Hannah has this picture that I drew of her at Young Adults the other day, and she looks like I aged her at least 50 years, and I was just trying to like capture a smile. And they laughed at that. I told this story. I one time, this was when I was in 6th grade, so well long before I knew my wife, so I can actually tell this story. But in 6th grade, I was in an art class, like for a grade, right?
Okay.
Like did not intentionally do that any time after this because it was such a rough experience for me. I got in trouble because all I wanted to draw was weapons. But one of the assignments, we got assigned to a partner, and we had to draw that partner, and the person had to draw us. And I got paired with this really cute girl in my art class. And I was like, originally I was like, oh, sweet, like this is awesome. I'm gonna get to know this girl. I'm gonna learn how to say more than like 2 words weirdly, and this is gonna be great. And then they said we gotta draw each other, and I was like, oh no. This poor girl has no idea what's about to hit her. And the day that we had to draw the photo, she had her hair pulled back in like a what's that, a ponytail or something?
Yes.
But
yes.
almost think
What
of
did
like
you
if
do?
she had like touched a balloon, how like it kind of like flares out. She had intentionally like set it up to do that. So needless to say, my picture looked like she had stuck her finger in a light socket. And
Good
I just
choice.
remember like trying to come up with this line of like, before I showed it to her, being like, this just does not capture like your beauty, you know,
Yeah.
trying to like make it really smooth.
Right.
And when I turned
Yeah.
it around,
It's
like
as ugly as you.
it was pretty bad. She was like, oh.
Who's that? Your mom?
How
Is what
rude.
I would have
Um,
said.
No, it was way more like, what are you good at? Because you should stick.
Oh.
She should stick to that.
Oh.
You know, it was pretty brutal. So,
Ouch.
anyways, yeah. Well, Connor, all the respect to you.
You guys should draw each other.
Me and Connor.
Yeah.
That would be a fun.
think it'd be beautiful.
Maybe we'll do it on our break. We'll
be
do,
the-
we'll
I'll
do
be
like
the
a
judge.
quick 30-second or maybe we both try to draw you.
Oh, that's not a good.
Oh, my.
Quick 30-second drawing. We'll see what we have time for today. All right. With that, normally we would take a brief break. If you remember on the last episode, I actually haven't recorded or had time to record any new announcements, things like that in between. CCB Youth, super excited for those of you who are listening to the pod. We've got some really cool stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks, including a fundraiser that we started locking some things down for today in terms of camp. So stay tuned. Probably on the next podcast, we'll have those ads up, but
Yeah.
we'll tell you guys about them probably tomorrow night at church before the podcast even drops. So all good there. And with that, we're going to go ahead and transition into our theological conversation. Yeah?
Let's do
Sound
it.
good?
Yeah.
All right, so Connor, we're going to let you kick it off. Part of the reason we're doing the topic of stepping out in faith is because this is your last day with us, right?
Oh my
Tomorrow you'll
goodness.
probably be at
Yes.
church,
Yes.
but
He's gonna
tomorrow.
die.
the last Tuesday you have, as Russ was pointing out earlier, to come and
Yes.
serve up at the church before you head out. So tell us a little bit about what the next season of life is going to look like for you.
So, when I leave on the 9th, early morning, I'll be flying to California, and
California, hey.
That was a great pronunciation.
when I get there, it'll be almost a 2-hour drive from Ontario to Yucca Valley,
Ooh, okay.
and then I start Bible boot camp.
Bible boot camp,
Bro,
bro.
that's a good word.
That's so legit. Break that down for
Love
us.
it.
So, like,
So-
what are you specifically going to?
who's
What's
gonna
this
be-
program?
So this program, we will learn the entire Bible in 1 year,
Goodness, yeah.
and then I'll learn pastoral ministry,
Yeah.
and then servanthood.
Right,
So those classes will be split up between in throughout the day,
right.
and then we'll start around at like 8 in the morning, and
Right.
then get done at like 9 and 10 at night. So,
Full day.
Ooh.
yeah,
Full
so
day.
it's the whole day of just
Ooh, mama.
Bible, servanthood, and like learning how to be a pastor.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
And that'll be for the next year.
Right. And this is with the Calvary Bible Institute,
Yes.
right? Their primary campus over at Joshua Springs in California. And Connor, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you pretty much born and raised here, right?
No, I was
Oh.
born and raised in Hanover, Pennsylvania,
What?
And
No
then-
way. I didn't even know that about you, bro.
Grew up in Yugoslavia.
and then
Oh.
Under
we
Stalin.
moved down to Florida.
You did not just say under
When I
Stalin.
was-
That's crazy.
Two different regimes.
when I was around 9 years old,
Okay.
and then I started coming here.
Yeah.
So I've been here pretty much.
So that's I
ever
have
since.
a very very vague memory of you in children's ministry, like late
That's a good memory.
Yeah.
fourth, early fifth grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and Alex both, and I remember specifically like per the usual, like as the school year wraps up, talking with like Mr. Terry and our children's ministry coordinator to be like, so who's moving up, and them telling me Connor and then later Alex, and very vague early memories of you guys in youth group, like listening and joining in. More actually of Alex, funny enough, than like yourself, and that's no slander or anything. Alex is a stud too, but so since you were 9 years old though,
Yes.
living here, and you graduated from high school how long ago?
A few months ago.
Yeah.
Since 2024 of May.
Right. Okay. So you basically had a summer, and in my memory, I got back from my training with the Navy over the summer, And Pastor Mark had just said, hey, Connor wants to come and start serving at the church. And I'm like, Connor, who are you talking about, bro? Once again, not because I didn't remember you, but just because when you're in youth group, like I don't remember us having many conversations about you feeling called to ministry, called to serve, feeling like that's something that you would want to learn and grow. So I bring all that up because CCB Youth, we have one of our largest graduating senior classes coming through the ranks right now. Many of you are probably sitting here wondering, like, what am I going to do with my life? Do I have to make decisions right now as it relates to what I'm going to do for the foreseeable future, college and career and all of these things? And Connor says, no, you don't. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't want to, like,
just
push
go to
back
California,
on.
you'll figure it out.
Yeah. I don't want to push back on expectations that your parents have, but maybe you can start this particularly as you're talking about the idea of stepping out in faith and just how did the Lord put this on your heart, bring this to you? What kind of process has resulted in this over the past couple of months?
So before I graduated, I thought I was either going to animate, go to EMT, or firefighting.
Okay. Animation, like
Yes,
you're drawing animation.
Yes.
Firefighting or EMT.
Yes.
Wow.
And so
Basically the same things.
as I got out of high school, none of it worked out.
Really?
It went all down the
Wow.
drain.
Okay.
Interesting.
And is
Yeah.
like,
What do you mean? Like just you applied for jobs, programs,
So-
like things like that?
I wanted to go to school,
Okay.
but I didn't have a means of getting to and from.
Right.
And I also, like, even though I was working at the time, like, I would have been in a lot of student debt.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Long-term practicality.
Yeah.
I got you, bro.
so as I'm working, you know, I'm getting real upset because I feel like I'm not going anywhere.
Wow.
And so I start praying.
Mm.
And
Wow.
it was like for 5 months, it was quiet. It was all
5 to 7
yes,
months.
5 to 7 months of constant praying. Like, I want to do something different.
Wow.
And so
And you said quiet, like
Yes,
it didn't feel like
like-
God was
like-
speaking.
no.
Wow.
And so there were times where, like, my job got rough, and I was like, screw it, I don't want to be here anymore.
Where were you working at the time?
I was working at Wingstop.
Right. That's
So,
what I
you know,
thought.
it's not very,
Wingstop.
Yeah.
like, impressive, but
Dude, I won't get into
I'm
this whole thing,
impressed.
but I was telling
How do I make wings?
someone the other day, I heard a story about a Wingstop in Indianapolis where a customer pulled a firearm on a Wingstop, like, manager, like the person running the front desk. not
And
manager,
the
front desk.
firearm was in the shape of a chicken wing?
It was his chicken wing. No, it wasn't. He pulled a firearm,
yeah.
and the Wingstop front desk person pulled out another firearm. They got into like an OK Corral style, literally shooting up inside the restaurant, and the employee actually shot the customer, and the
Give me all
police
your
came. They
chicken
both
wings.
lived. Everybody was okay.
Yeah.
And the sentencing that came from it was that the guy who pulled the gun first on the employee was given 4 days in jail and banned from every Wingstop in that county. That was it, bro. They shot up a restaurant, and all he got was 4 days in jail
Yeah.
and banned from Wingstop. So either the judge was
Wow.
sympathetic because he got shot,
Okay.
or that judge places a really high esteem on the Wingstops in that county because that was punishment enough, baby. Who
Yeah.
needs to stay in jail? You're just not allowed to, you got to go to the next county's Wingstop, bro.
Or maybe he was trying to protect that man
Dude,
in case he
yeah.
robbed
Oh.
another Wingstop and actually lost his
Dude,
life.
I don't know, bro. I was like, that's the craziest thing.
Did
I've
you
ever
hear
heard.
anything about the employee?
I did not hear about him getting in any trouble whatsoever. I heard that was pretty normal for a typical
Unscathed.
Wingstop clerk.
Unscathed.
Yeah, unscathed, right? Self-defense.
Oh, man.
And
Yeah.
He
just-
handed him some lead with the side of wings.
Yeah.
He said, "Go."
After he shot the guy, he called
Go out the
911 and
door.
then asked where his blue cheese was because no, I'm
Oh.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. Anyways, bro, that was a whole separate
So-
tangent. So you're working at Wingstop.
Wow.
Point being, rough days at Wingstop.
Yeah,
I get it,
yes.
bro.
So-
I've heard the stories.
Yeah. So
I've heard this.
I never had a day like that, thankfully.
I get
But
the struggle getting robbed at
Yeah.
Wingstop.
It's a struggle, bro.
But
I get the struggle.
It's rough.
I got tired of working at Wingstop.
Yeah.
And so I would walk around like
Yeah.
everywhere in walking distance.
Mm.
Oh, like
Ask if they were
visiting stores.
hiring.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nobody was hiring.
Oh my goodness.
And so what I found out recently is that God wanted me there because I was building connections.
Mm-hmm. At Wingstop.
Yeah, at Wingstop. Which
Wow.
is crazy, but it's still
Okay.
But anyways,
Break that down.
Yeah, what
like
connection?
relationship for opportunity for you to be a light, or specifically for
like I got to talk to some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they started recognizing that I was leaving for, Bible college, everyone, they started asking questions. And so I was able to share a little bit.
wow.
And so
Oh, that's
they
cool.
were upset that I was leaving
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I was very reliable.
Because
And-
now who's gonna hold down the fort when someone? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Exactly.
And so I got to say bye to them.
Yeah.
They were awesome. But, in the,
you're able to minister to them
yes,
in the moment.
I was.
Wow, that's cool.
So during that time of what I would say is silence,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was silence because there was other things going on that God
Right.
was speaking to me about,
Yeah.
but mostly
But,
about
not in that area.
moving forward through jobs.
Mm.
It was I didn't get an answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
as when I tried to find a job
Mhm.
and I couldn't find one, I took it as I'm supposed to be here.
Wow.
I'm not supposed to move on.
Interesting.
And I don't know, it was very rough. So, but I get tired of it. I'm tired of waiting, and I talk to Pastor Mark. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to work for the Lord. I'm tired of trying to make my own way.
Right.
I want my life to be in total submission.
Right.
So when I talked to him, he's like, okay, come Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And so when coming to Tuesdays, it was nice because I was like, oh, I'm, serving the church and, these people are awesome.
Right.
Even though,
Oh, he's talking about
Yeah,
us, bro.
Yeah, he's talking about me.
He's for
It's
sure
like-
talking about
he-
injustice.
even though I didn't, talk to you guys a lot, I was kind of, separate, I wouldn't say outside of the group, but,
Yeah.
I wasn't connected very well.
Right.
I still felt welcomed.
Oh man.
And so it was very rough time in my life,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and you guys were a good piece in my life.
Yeah.
So I keep coming, and eventually Pastor Mark asked me. Actually, no, it wasn't Pastor Mark. It was Sam. Sam asked me if I would like to go to CBI.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, hey,
I love
that's
Sam, bro.
that's not a bad idea.
How much games you coming in?
Dude, sometimes I think Sam is moving so fast that I'm like, did you think about that? But then, dude, you give a story like that, and I'm like, dude, Sam sees things that none of us saw.
Yeah.
Not in any kind of offensive way, but once again, just because we had never talked ministry or things like that.
Yeah.
The thought of CBI for you was not something that immediately jumped into my mind.
Yeah. Same for me.
Dude, Sam just cast the
Yeah.
net, bro.
No, it wasn't a thought to me because I was stuck on I'm gonna do an EMT.
Right.
I'll
Right.
be
Okay.
serving the Lord,
Okay.
know, helping people medically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Ethan right
Yeah,
there, bro.
he was actually he
Praise
was
the
a
Lord
bit of
God
an
rescued you
inspiration
from
because
Oh,
yes,
wow.
because I was like,
You heard that? You just said you were an inspiration,
An
bro.
inspiration. Oh, I miss those saying stupid stuff. Thank you.
That's one of those moments where I'm going to go back and listen. I'll be like, what was Ethan actually saying? Oh, that was actually funny. Anyways, yeah. That's
so I was so
crazy.
stuck on
Wow.
working by myself, and then, when I talked to Sam, I was like, hey,
That's
that's not a
cool.
bad idea. I'm gonna try.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
And
Apply.
I talk with Hannah, I talk with Pastor Mark, and they're getting me connected.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
They're making stuff happen. And
That's
when
good.
I submitted an application, it was quiet,
Mm.
and
Man.
I got a
That's
little
brutal.
worried, but I should kind of recognize like I was signing up for 2025 and it was like late mid 2024. So they were still, scheduling everything. But
You're ahead of the ball.
yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so I'm talking to people, and then Hannah, because she's already been there, she has connections. She's like, hey, like, she gets connected to administrations, and head administrations, this man named Joel, he calls me.
Oh my gosh.
Who,
I
mind
love
you,
Joel.
I'll cut in real quick.
Bro.
Joel Randall literally grew up in this church. His dad's the planting pastor of Calvary Chapel Brandon. He and I were in like school together. His brother and I were actually in the same grade. But him, Hope, and James were on the last podcast episode. They were literally in the same kindergarten class here at Calvary Chapel Brandon. So just crazy
That's
to see, right? Literally, like, dude, that's
I didn't know
over
that.
20 years. Yes,
Yeah.
literally, bro.
Yeah.
Over 20 years ago, and that's who's like the head honcho
Yes,
for
he's-
admittance at CBI, which is just wild.
So he's talking to me, and he's encouraging me, and he says, but there's a wait list. And
For the fall.
Yes.
Already?
No, not the fall.
Oh, okay.
The spring.
Oh, okay.
So
and that's what
signed
you
up.
wanted. You wanted to go right now, like in January.
So during the time, I wasn't sure on what
Okay.
I wanted to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It was more of like, okay,
Was-
God's like, potentially opening something up. So like, okay, I'll let him move.
Yeah.
And so I was like, fall's a good idea because I would start technically the correct way,
Right.
because the way they do things at CBI is a little different from normal colleges.
Sure,
So they
sure.
don't start all at the same time.
Right.
You can either start in the first semester or the second semester. I am starting in spring, so I'll be starting in the second semester.
Okay.
And so I'm going to learn the New Testament first and then the Old Testament. So I thought the better
That's
idea
so
would be
cool.
to wait and go to fall.
Yeah.
And so when Joel called me and told me there was a wait list, I was like, okay, I'll wait for fall then. And so we wait. I'm working. I'm going to
Serving here.
Tuesdays, serving.
Yeah.
I try coming more to young adults. I've recently started coming to Wednesdays more.
Yeah.
And then, like 2 weeks ago, I got a call from Joel again saying about like, hey, spots opened up, get ready, you're flying out here.
Oh
And
my
so,
goodness.
like,
not for the fall, but for the spring.
yeah, the spring.
Yeah.
And so,
Wow.
You should come now.
yes. And
Opposed to
so,
when you actually were thinking you were going to go. Wow.
so it hit me like a truck
Oh
because
my goodness.
it's like, okay, now things are real.
Right.
Like, we got to start moving.
Right.
Dude.
It's like a week until I got to go to California, like completely flip my
Man.
life upside down.
Dude, I'm the one in the military, and it's like you just got orders, bro. Like
Yeah.
you're
Hey,
you just
be
got
here
sent
at this
out.
time, change your whole life, do whatever you got to do. This is where
Immediately.
we need you.
Right.
Yeah. And
Wow.
so when I heard that, I start talking to family, and they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
slow down. Like, this is not the move.
Wait. Okay, I have a question. Have you been like keeping them in the loop with like your idea for this, or is this like completely new to them when you talk to
So
them?
I
about being
did
accepted?
tell them, I was like, hey, there's a wait list, but this was like,
Bless
it
you.
was surprising to everybody.
Had you talked with them about the calling though that you were feeling on your life, right? And like, I know we haven't even like here talked about that, but like you said, like that waiting and the Lord speaking and affirming to you things, and even like desire on your heart to like teach the Bible, grow in these things. Like, were you having conversations with your family about any of that?
No.
Okay.
When anyone asks me about calling, I don't know what I'm called to be.
Yeah,
I still
okay.
don't know like where I'm going.
Right.
But I know that I want to work for God.
Yeah.
But just like, you have to listen very hard, and you have to want it. You have to want to listen. You can't, I don't know, like slack. I wouldn't say slack, but you can't half listen. And so, I don't know. But then...
Sorry, I'm writing stuff
No,
down
you're
because I'm going to
good.
bring it up later. I want to let you finish the
Yeah.
testimony to some
So-
extent, but stuff that I want to acknowledge later for our youth and listeners.
Then when it was a shock, so this is where the step of faith came in. It's
Okay.
like the window opened up and
Right.
I was unsure. I was unsure, like, should I take this big step? Like, because there's so much, like, missing. There's, like,
Yeah,
if
so
I
many
could
different-
tell, like, everything. I wish I wrote this down. Because,
Dude,
like,
Yeah.
I
it's
love your
crazy.
organic.
No, I get it. I get it though, because you don't have anything
so-
figured out yet.
Yeah.
It's just like here's a possibility. Now, what do I
Yeah.
do? Like, I'm in the middle of this.
I
and
was-
my family is like on the edge of their seat, and I'm
Yeah.
on the edge of my seat.
So I was worried.
What do I do?
I was worried, like, is this what God wants me to do?
Right.
Is my family going to be okay? How's my work going to feel about this?
Right.
And I don't want to leave my church family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you had just
Yeah,
really
yes,
started
exactly.
to like, connect with and you measure.
And, like, everything was so hostile throughout life. Like, coming to church was, like, a good escape.
yeah.
It's, like, not only just, like, church family, but, like, being closer to God. It was awesome.
Hmm.
And so now I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm worried. And so I was worried about leaving my family. And so I keep praying. And I get to talk to Joel again because he sent me an email saying, like, hey, here's the application process. You know, if you have any questions, come talk to me. And so I called Joel. And I was like, hey, this is pretty much everything that's going on in my life.
Yeah.
I was walking to work. It's kind of funny. I was like, do you have time to talk? And he was like, yeah. And so I talked to him. And he's like, it's like a little checklist.
Mhm.
Is if God's speaking to you. And this has helped me out so much. Is it for the kingdom?
Oh, this is a checklist
Yes,
he ran
yes,
you through.
yes, yes.
Okay.
He asked, is this for the kingdom? Are godly counselors encouraging you to go? Is there a window opening? And do you feel godly peace? So initially I didn't have that peace. But when he told me the other three
Yeah.
checkpoints,
Mm-hmm.
it gave me that sense
Kinda
of peace because
affirmed it.
everything else was checked out. There was a window, like there's a spot for me to go.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, Justin, Caleb, Pastor Mark DeBoe, like everyone
Mhm.
was like, you know, you should do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
obviously it's for the kingdom. Like
Right.
and then
Yeah.
That's when the
peace.
That's
Peace came
something
in.
though that to some extent, like I feel like you do have some level of control, or have to maintain some level of control over, right? Because
what do you mean?
on paper it can feel as though it's for the kingdom, and yet I just know this from like my
Oh,
own personal
okay,
things
okay.
in ministry, right? Like
Yeah.
there are things that I'm like, oh, of course that's for the kingdom, and then like I start doing it, start rolling with it, I'm like, oh wait, this is my pride, you
Yeah.
know, get in the way, or even my fear of the future, my lack of faith, my
Okay.
you know, and I'm not saying that's the
Yeah, yeah,
case
yeah,
for
yeah.
you. I'm just saying, and even longevity, like when you get there, right? Like, there are jokes, right? Like, oh, you know, Bible college, ring by spring kind of thing. Like, I would discourage just going to Bible college if you're trying to find a spouse, right? There should be more keeping you. That might be for you than for the kingdom. So also keeping that desire of like,
Yeah.
is this really for him? You know.
Yeah.
But that's good, bro. That's super good.
So,
yeah, keep going.
I have something to say about that.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
after he told me that, I was super stoked.
Mhm.
And then after that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna actually like really start going after this.
Right.
And then one night, like everything came crashing. like the entire household
Really?
was like cutthroat.
Over this issue or
No,
something
no.
unrelated?
So
Okay.
it was totally like unrelated.
Yeah.
But I almost didn't go because my reason for going to Calvary Chapel, CBI, it changed because it was no longer like, oh, I want to go to serve God.
Right.
It was more like, I want to go to escape.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started telling a few people, like, you know, I don't think it'll be a good move to go.
Because you're worried about it being selfish.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where you're saying,
Is it really?
is
about
it
the
really
kingdom?
for the kingdom?
Yes.
Is it, or is
Yes.
it just
Wow.
escapism, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're still in that spot?
No.
He's still
Yeah,
running.
yeah,
No, so, and even though I hesitated, we just, we kept going. And
Step by step. Little by little.
I recognized that God was making it so easy for me to go that I believed that if he didn't want me to go, he would have shut the door in my face.
Okay.
So one of the ways that it made it really easy was
Yeah.
like the application, and that was easy. But ordering a flight that short notice
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Especially across the
Yes.
country, bro. You're
Yes.
going from Florida to California.
And so
Continental U.S., you can't really get farther than that, you know?
yeah, so I talked to my grandmother. I was like, hey, do you know the best like airlines to take? Because I was nervous about flying. And she's like, I got you. Because she...
Which, just to pause on that, and I'm not trying to like
Yeah.
embarrass you or anything, like I think this is part of the testimony. Like you're pretty spooked at the thought of flying, right?
Oh, I'll get to that.
Okay.
I hate flying.
Like
I
it's
don't-
not just about the ticket, it's literally like the idea of flying is a stress for you.
So at the time, it wasn't.
Okay.
It was just like, you know, this is gonna suck, but it's okay. I'm
Okay.
going like
Sure. Just kind of like
I wanna serve God.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be alright.
And that was mostly because, and that's the way that it like my mentality changed is that like I'm no longer running away.
Right.
It's God's calling me to go
Yeah, wow.
because he's making it so easy. Like Jonah didn't get to run away.
Yeah.
And so it's not me running away, it's me trying to serve the Lord. What am I trying to say?
Yeah.
Oh, the flying. So she's like, I got you. She flies so much for work that she has like miles points. It's almost like McDonald's points. Like, the more you buy McDonald's, the more points you
Bro,
get.
I know all about that.
And
99
so-
cent large ass coffee, baby.
Oh, she's loving it.
So she was able to get me a first class ticket one way.
Come on.
Yeah, it's
First
it's
class?
So yeah,
First
it's
class,
ridiculous,
bro.
dude.
I've never flown first
And-
class in my life, bro.
You know what
Goodness.
upsets me is that I almost threw that away
Yeah.
Oh,
because
wow. Because
after
of
that I was like, I'm going to CBI. I'm happy,
Yeah.
and
Because of the family.
as things keep going on, like things between the family, they're becoming easier because now everybody's focused on this, and they're not easy, but it's like, you know, we're working together, and but so the old problems die and a new problem arises.
Yeah.
So like the devil sees God moving and he really doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And so it was no longer like he's attacking my family, he's now attacking my heart.
Yeah. Wow.
And, you know, I'm so upset at this because, like, I almost threw it all away and messed it up. I almost decided taking a bus
Instead of a plane.
instead of a plane.
Yeah.
And that
Because you were
bus.
determined to get there.
Yes, I
but
was.
him targeting that fear, right?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
it hit me it ate at me.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
as the weeks went on, and it's an irrational fear. I shouldn't everyone says the statistics. You're more likely to die in a car accident than you are from an airplane.
Yeah.
Especially if you're eating McDonald's like you, bro. You're gonna die in
Yeah.
multiple different ways with that.
So my bad.
I'm on the way out, but my body will be well preserved by all of the preservatives I've eaten. I'm gonna look like this long after I kick the bucket.
Yeah.
We're putting a terribly humorous spin on
I am-
truly a challenging issue.
So
As a medical professional, I have to agree with that.
Okay, keep going, Connor. Sorry.
my bad.
Go for it. Bro.
So this has been eating at me, and I almost chose a ridiculous option. Taking a bus would have taken 3 days instead of the 8 hours that I'll be on that flight.
Right.
That's
And
still long.
that
8 hours
bus,
is still a long flight. You got a
yeah, it
layover or
is,
something?
but I do have a layover.
Okay.
But that would be in total 9.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
An hour layover.
Yeah.
But the bus, it would have had a lot of different strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a lot more sketchy
Yeah.
than a first class ticket. And I recognized that I was trying to do my work instead of God because I was so afraid over something ridiculous. And that fear made me run away from what God planned.
Yeah.
Wow.
So eventually, God made me realize, like, I don't want you going that way. I want you this way. And
Here you are on the way to getting that.
I wish I wrote this down. This is very
No,
sloppy.
bro.
No, you're good.
Because
This is
like
organic.
I'm
I mean,
leaving
this is
out.
like one of
there's
the
so
most-
much there's so much missing, and
Yeah.
it's just like I don't.
No,
it's
this is
whatever.
good, man.
This is one of the most authentic conversations I feel like we've had. Just at your own time, and even as we double back, I'm going to ask you some questions that maybe
All right,
might even
sweet.
jog some of the memory on
All
that.
right,
But I want to make
thank
sure
you.
you
Yeah.
finish up.
So I was terrified. Like my heart raced for so long. I felt like I could have dropped
Right.
because of this ridiculous fear. And so when I realized that God wanted me to go on this plane, it reassured me because I recognized He's in my corner. Because there was,
That's right.
out of me trying to figure it out, like I would have 4 different transits between buses. It clicked in my head as like, you knucklehead. There's an easier way. There's a much like this way has already been made. Like you shouldn't run away from this much better option
Right.
just because you're afraid.
Yeah.
And so it made me realize like
It kind of
God's in my
becomes a
corner.
metaphor for the whole thing. Like literally
Yes.
just this little like flight versus bus ride thing. Like I love what you said. Like it, like trying to do it your way instead of God's way when the
Yeah.
way God has made is so much easier.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of, I don't know. Like I think the most. There's a few things I'd like to tag back to you, but I think potentially the most applicable piece that might even launch us into a deeper conversation.
All right.
As you described this process, you said it this way once, and then you brought it up in Joel's advice to you.
Yeah.
Almost like the window of opportunity, right? Is there a window opening? And I laughed because in my ministry, and even I've heard, Pastor Mark say this, like, normally you don't want to look for the window.
Yeah.
You want to look for the door, right? Like, let me go through this door. And we've even joked, like, hey, you can try to squeeze your way through that window, but like it's much better to go through the door.
Yeah.
And you know, even in terms of calling, in terms of stepping out in faith, like what doors is God opening? And it was really interesting because as you first said, like I kind of saw the window opening as we explored CBI, and then in that exhortation he gave you, is there a window opening, was kind of the third step.
Yeah.
And then there was a pivotal point in you telling the story where you stopped referring to it as a window and you actually said, I knew I needed to go through this door and God would shut it if I wasn't supposed to.
Yes.
So I'm curious for you, because I think I know the answer based off of kind of what I jotted down, but I'm curious for you, what would you say was the defining point for that window becoming a door? Right? Like that's almost this whole process of stepping out in faith. At what point for even like our listeners does a window become a door? Because I love that imagery. It's grounded in desire, and we're all like looking for what's the door God has called us to.
Yeah.
The reality is we're window shopping because our hearts are just so feeble, you know? We're just looking for that window we like. Oh man, that's a great one. That, you know. At what point did the window of opportunity become a door for you that you just knew I've got to walk through that? If you can pinpoint it to like a specific thing.
A window from a door. Oh my.
So then, and I think
Like-
another.
So, a window from a door.
I might be asking it kind of weird too. Like, is
No,
there
like in other words, like when is it just not just a possibility, but you know it's God's will?
yeah, and even not like in this specific situation, when did you like? When would you say, or what happened that you would say made it click? Like, this isn't just like something I'm entertaining as a possibility. Like God has said, I gotta step through that opening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it could be the culmination of all of it.
Yeah.
Like and there's probably a level of truth to that. But I'm curious. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I almost said I want to put mouths in your words. I want to put words in your mouth. Like even when I think about it biblically, right? Like with Abraham, like I like to think that God was doing a preparatory work in his heart, and then there's the defined moment identified in Scripture where God literally speaks to him and says, like, you're going to leave and go start this nation, right? And there's the beginning of the Abrahamic covenant. The same with Noah, the same with Moses, even David, right? Like there's all of these preparatory small things that kind of build into this like defined moment where God speaks. And not to say that your testimony doesn't have that, but God truly is speaking the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, was there a moment where devotionally it happened for you, or was it like this final thing happened that made it click? Like, and for our listeners, like, I want to draw a principle from that. Like, at what point does the window you're considering become like a door you just have to go through? You'd be a Jonah not to, you know?
Wow.
What the heck? It's
That's just so much.
There's so much.
Yeah.
There's so many
Okay,
pieces.
so-
of
No, and
something.
you can. It's not a cop out to
So,
say like
yeah.
it's the culmination of everything. Like,
Okay, so I wanted to serve the Lord.
right.
There was an option
Yeah.
to go that way.
Right.
So that was the window.
Right.
The window was Sam saying, "Hey, would you like to go to CBI?
Right.
This
right.
is good because, you know, it can open up more room for God to work in your
Right.
life."
Right.
And so
Mhm.
like I don't know. Okay, so it didn't become it turned into a door
Yeah.
because God made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Okay.
wasn't like as I tried to fit through the window,
Yeah.
it morphed into a door.
Okay, no, dude, that's exactly what I'm like looking for here. Like, as you
Interesting.
walked, which is so fascinating to me, right? Because part
Okay.
of the reason I'm asking is I'm like, man, I need to check my metaphor when I tell people not to go through windows, because maybe it is, and even when I think about my own life, like, we're looking for doors, and
Yeah.
sometimes that can stop us from stepping out in faith. And so sometimes it does require walk up to that window, start
Yeah.
to explore, like, how might I fit through this thing? How might, and
Yeah.
like you're saying, like, if you're and the reason we say don't go through the window is the idea of forcing it. If you're having to force yourself
Yes.
through that narrow opening, okay, then that's not the Lord.
Yeah.
But if as you walk through that window, like you just said, morphs into a door, that is something that only God can do, right?
Exactly.
Like, you're gonna break all the sheetrock and the glass and the whole deal if you're squeezing your way through, like, Alice in Wonderland through that tiny little thing.
Yeah.
But if God's doing it, and like that's what I jotted down
Yeah.
as you were speaking, is like, for me, what I was gonna identify, but what the way you said it is so much better, is there came a point where everything was coming together,
Yes.
and you specifically said, like, it. Where I put it somewhere in here, like, it started to get so easy.
Yeah.
All of those missing pieces came together, right? And that's where, like, Hannah just spooked us and came to the.
That was very
came to the
scary.
window. But yeah, so it wasn't like necessarily this like divine revelation where God just.
Yes.
Connor, you will go. Like, it wasn't that type of a thing, but as you stepped, as you walked, God manifested himself in such a tangible way by just making it happen.
Yes.
And that window, like, you didn't do it.
No, I
God
didn't.
turned the window into a door
Yeah.
as you passed through,
Yeah.
which I think is,
Yeah.
bro, like, that's so good. And CCB Youth, like, for those of you guys who are listening, like, as we start to try to apply some of this to you, like, I don't know where you're at in, the process that Connor is describing.
Yeah.
Maybe you're looking at a number of different opportunities that lie before you, and you're trying to assess, like, before you draw close to it, oh, that's a window, and I need the door. Like, God, just show me the door. Show me the door that I can walk up to, that I can walk through. And I love what Connor's saying is, like, it's just not that easy, man. Like, you gotta look at the glimmer, the peak, the small little window that God's giving you, and really, like, the moral of your testimony is in the quiet, in the prayer times, in the constant seeking.
Yes.
And that's where God ultimately speaks. And
Yes.
it doesn't have to be this instantaneous thing. Like, it's
Yes.
months of waiting on him and being comfortable in that, silent, and
Yes.
still, like what I love too is, like, you didn't just, like, sit in that silent quiet. Like, you continued to act. You looked for further opportunities to serve. You had conversations with people, specifically, like, people in spiritual leadership and oversight of you, Sam and Pastor Mark. And, like, once again, like, CCB Youth, like, if you're in that place where you're just like, man, I don't know what to do with my future, what to do with my life, should I step out in faith? Keep praying. Grow comfortable in the quiet and in the silent, because God is still there and he is still speaking, but there's a preparatory work that has to be done. And then, like, ask yourself, is it for the kingdom? Are godly counselors encouraging me to go? Is there that window opening? Do I feel that peace? And as you do, like Connor is saying, start to wiggle your way through that window and watch, because if it's God, he's going to make it happen, and it's going to turn into a door.
And he's going to provide. I think sometimes when we're trying to go through that window of opportunity, there comes a point where we either have to sustain it or God reveals himself as providing for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's manifested in your story, Connor, by the fact that you got the plane ticket,
Right.
and it was so
Right.
clear, like she just showed up with the ticket, the
Yeah,
points,
right.
and she covered the whole thing. That's amazing. And yeah, you had a fear to overcome. You had a mountain to overcome. But that was internal, and God had made his provision on your behalf, both through financial giving and also eventually that peace, the emotional provision in that area. And then also on top of that, you see your family coming behind you eventually, even through the turmoil. that might be very difficult for them
Right.
to get behind.
Right.
And they still might be in a difficult place. I don't know. I haven't heard yet. But at least they have all come together to show that God is sustaining this opportunity for you.
Right.
An alternative would be you're like, oh, CBI sounds like a great idea. Let me put the application in. It's denied. We keep forcing it. And I know this happened. You haven't talked about this, and I'll share it a little bit later too. But it keeps denying. You keep pushing. We keep calling. It's denied. It's going to cost $4,600. Someone's like, you get on the phone with Karen from East Lebanon, and you're trying to try and figure out how to get into this, and there's not an opportunity, but maybe you can pay like $4,600, and you don't have that in the bank, and it's not opening up, and you don't know how you're going to get there, and you're coming to all these roadblocks, and you're praying for God's provision, and it does not come. Forcing it would look like, okay, let's get a loan from the bank to try and
I'll
pay
just
this.
take out an absurd loan that I have no intentions of ever paying back.
Exactly.
The rapture's coming, baby.
That's a wise financial decision.
No, it's not. Don't do that.
That would be forcing it. But instead you see God's provision, you see God's hand. Your responsibility on this half is to pray, to seek the Lord, and to abide in him. The verse that we all know from Proverbs chapter 3 is, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Yeah. Sometimes that doesn't look like from heaven, a thunderbolt that comes down, or a voice booming from heaven that says, this is my plan for you. You're going to go in this direction.
Right.
Sometimes that looks like God opened up an opportunity, you stepping out. Lord, is this you? Yeah. I'm praying. I'm seeking you. My heart is for you. My heart is to further your kingdom and to bring your name glory, not myself glory.
Right.
Lord, if this is you, continue and sustain it. Yeah. And as he does, then he's direct your path.
Yeah.
And he's led it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love like the balance that you naturally like struck in your process. Like, it's not like you saw that first window and you just ran full speed and like tried to like dolphin dive through that shit, right? Like,
well, that would be entertaining.
There used to be this show on, I think it was Nickelodeon, where like people would stand on a like platform and they would send this like a cutout,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You had to try to form your body to like fit the shape of the
Yes.
window so that it would pass over you and you wouldn't get knocked in the water, right? And like that's almost what I feel is like that's forcing it. And this illustration is like you gotta like, and then like some of the later episodes, it's literally like a little cube, and the guy's like, bring it, and like chocolate place trying to like dive through, and I'm like, no, like there is this gradual. You step closer, and if it's God, it expands a little. And then, like, you step closer, and as you step in faith, God seems to honor that if it's really him. And that's where it, begins to expand to the point of where, like, as you're passing through, I don't want to say it's always, like, comfortable, because sometimes God's will and plan does have challenge, like even things like you're describing. Yes. But that peace, like, it's not maybe comfortable holistically, but it's not uncomfortable trying to squeeze through that thing because you have that confidence and that assurance, like, this is actually God, right?
Yes.
And same thing, like CCB Youth, like, as you guys are milling that over, like, it's easy to develop an idea in your head, see that opportunity, and be like, I'm a full speed run straight into that because I feel like God's already said, like, yes, do it.
Yeah.
And maybe he has, and maybe that's great, but you're doing yourself a disservice by not going through a process with God of determining, is this really him, and acting in faith, right?
Yes.
And that's where, like, hey, it would have probably been a lot more comfortable going through that window, and there probably would have been a lot more peace if you'd have just slowed your roll a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say going through the door, because at that point it's the door, right?
Yeah.
Like I just love how you strike that balance, Connor, in being very intentional about everything that you do, even to the last minute, like questioning, like, Lord, is this really you? But as God made it easy and made the way, you passed through. You know?
You did, and He kept you for it.
Yeah,
and I think at the
He
end,
did provide.
He provided, and at the end of the day, the most important place is, where is your heart at? Where is your heart at? Because the Lord says, do not follow the path of the wicked, follow the way of the righteous. And it's like a shining, you're like a shining star in the midst of the darkness, basically. Right. And I think when we come to a place where we have to make a decision, you have to really reckon with yourself and find out, like, what is my heart here? Mm-hmm. Am I really seeking just simply God's glory? Because he's going to honor that pursuit, whatever that looks like. Right. If we're seeking to honor him, he's going to take that and he's going to either provide and nourish it, or he's going to let it die and lead you in a different way. Right. But at the end of the day, the most important part is your heart seeking God? Yeah. Is your heart seeking the Lord fully?
Man. That's all I got, man. Any other comments?
No.
All right.
I was gonna, because I said I would circle back, so I will real quick.
Yeah, sure. Circle back.
So when I talked to Connor, from what I've heard bits and pieces of this along the way. Connor shared with me, and I remember when he applied to CBI, and he was not hearing anything back, and I think it was a good couple months.
Yeah.
It was a good couple months of just pure waiting after sending the application. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know what to do. Should I contact them? I've called them once, but I don't want to force it, as you said. I just want to, I want to be faithful. And he just waited and waited and waited. I remember, like, the metaphorical bead dripping down your forehead because you're like, what do? I don't know the situation. You know what I mean? Right. And it was so beautiful because I saw from that, you didn't. You just waited. You kept pursuing the Lord, and God opened that door, like, so beautifully and powerfully, right, and led you in that direction and provided a way. You got a phone call back. Obviously, you connected with Joel, and now I'm hearing that you're going to CBI. It's like, oh my goodness, this is so cool.
Right.
This is so cool.
Right. No, I love that, bro. I think. Sorry, I just confused myself on which camera we're on. There it is. Yeah, I think, like, in kind of closing thoughts, like CCB Youth, there's no formula. There's no perfect way to determine when to step out in faith, how to step out in faith, but there are general parameters that are offered biblically. And I think Joel via Connor, or Connor via Joel, gave us, like, you said, a little checklist, right, that you can personally assess, right? Is it for the kingdom? Are godly counselors encouraging you to go? Is there a window opening? And do you feel a godly peace? But before you even get to that checklist, Chiefy's pointing out, like, where's your heart at? Is there desire? Because God does take that into consideration, not just because it's something that you want and God loves you and cares about you, but it's also because it's how he's designed you and created you, right? Yes. He's gifted you in certain ways. So consider the desires of your heart. Consider the things that you might want to do, that you might be open to doing, kind of like Connor did, right? Animation, EMT, firefighting, like the ideas, right? And like he said, like, there's a level of pursuit that should go into those considerations of your heart. But if God is closing those doors, look for, and either way probably, look for those windows of opportunity. And then once you see the window, run through that little checklist, right? And then be prepared, right? Because even in the face of it checking all the boxes, there's still a lot of waiting, a lot of silence, a lot of patiently seeking the Lord until something might break through. And in that interim, continue to serve, continue to have conversations, continue to look for windows of opportunity, because maybe you're wrong on the window that you've settled on. And then, too, I'll briefly acknowledge this, like, even upon coming to that position in your heart of, like, this is what God has called, I'm watching that window morph into a door, here's where we're going. Be prepared, too, because there might be, a dark night of the soul, so to speak, right? Like Connor describes that evening where everything kind of fell apart, not even related to the issue. And you've got to determine, like, okay, is this God speaking to me related to the situation? Or would I be a Jonah to run away from this? Or is this more of a Job type situation where I'm just undergoing a trial, a challenge that I have to persevere through as the Lord leads and continue to follow exactly what he's called me to do and not be intimidated by this adversity? And in doing so, right, all of this is staying tethered to Jesus, keeping up your faith, and instead of trying to do it your way, trusting that God's going to do it his, So that's how a window becomes a door.
I
Which
like
think
it.
is super cool, man. What a beautiful
Yeah.
illustration. All right, CCB Youth, with that, we're going to have a super short break with a
Okay, we're
quick announcement on your, where you
Devices.
send your ideas and stuff like that. I know we had said potentially going to do a meme competition, but I've still only received one, so we'll probably give you one more week and maybe hit that next week.
We
I'll
have our
push it this
winner.
yeah, winner.
We didn't even like it.
Well, I might have
Just
made
kidding.
like 6 or 7, and maybe we'll do a different game where like you got to figure out which one was fan made versus which one I made.
We get one.
Something like that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we'll watch a quick break, and then we'll have a game. It's a new game we're gonna play this week. So, hey,
Sweet.
already, Connor, thanks for sharing, bro. I think that's a really
That was
important
awesome,
conversation, and is gonna positively impact our youth. So,
Yeah, dude.
appreciate you sharing, brother.
No
It
problem.
definitely
Yeah.
will.
All right, here we go. What's up, podcast listener? Hey, podcast listeners, thanks for bearing with us on these breaks. As always, we just want to remind you to send in your questions, your comments, your suggested topics, and or feedback to the Calvary Chapel Brandon Youth email, which is ccbyoutthehouse@gmail.com. We love hearing feedback on the show. We would love to hear, once again, your thoughts and or ideas. If there are guests you want, if something's not working, is working, whatever. Hit us up at ccbyoutthehouse@gmail.com. Thank you. And where are we on? I want this camera. Boom. What's up? Quick cut, CCB Youth.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
And don't worry, Ethan is doubly here in spirit. Okay.
I'm in
Real
there.
quick, before we play the actual game, Connor and I are each going to draw Ethan for 30 seconds and see what comes about. 30 seconds,
30
right?
seconds,
Chiefy, you
okay.
got to start us on the timer. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. This is great because I can only see from the side.
I'm hearing large strokes on my right. I heard a circle.
Oh, my.
I'm concerned with whatever Caleb's producing. If it's cracking you up, it's probably gonna make me not crack up. I'm hearing grunts on my left. Heavy breathing.
Oh, that's
Timer's up.
ridiculous. That's 30 seconds.
Oh, my nostrils! Whoa!
All right, we're gonna show.
Is it that bad?
We're gonna show what we have to work with here. Here, Connor, pass me
more
pass
than
me yours.
30 seconds.
Pass me yours. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold them
Yeah,
up here. Let
that
me
camera,
get.
right, yeah.
Let me get. Where's
You
this
want that one?
All right,
Oh, there you go, there
Watch
you go.
this,
That's a good
guys.
move.
All right,
Good
here's
move.
where we go. I'm gonna start with. Here's Connor's.
Oh, you can't even see it. Oh,
Okay,
that
let me
sucks.
All right.
Oh,
he's
look
got
at
a
that
nice side
beautiful
peripheral,
nostrils.
Got a nose, a little brow, a little glasses action. You can
Oh,
kinda see
man.
what Connor was working with. But see, here's what I'll say. Connor, very, very high attention to detail and, all the wonderful
Excellent.
stuff like that.
That eyebrow is
Um,
fine.
Here is my drawing.
Is that Yoda? What on earth?
I was trying to capture your hat.
Look like I'm a sweaty Yoda with a headband. I
I think you're cute, bro.
Oh.
Look at that. Come
Oh,
on.
wow.
Look at that. So there you go, CCB Youth. That is
Oh.
Connor
Can I keep this?
is definitely the you can keep both of those.
Oh,
Superior.
my goodness.
No. I think
Oh.
you actually completed your artwork. I didn't.
My
Well,
nose
I-
looks.
I
had a
partially
lot.
started.
I had a lot more.
My
I
nose
was
looks like
planning to do
Voldemort,
there.
bruh.
Yeah.
What
it
did you
does.
get? Where did that come from?
Don't.
Looks
I
like a Lego?
It was speed. I was
It's-
going for speed.
You going?
It's going for speed there.
yeah.
Okay, now the actual game. All right, here we go. CCB, what we're going to play is basically a version of Try Not to Laugh, where I'm going to read. Look at Chiefy already going. I'm going to read some jokes. And basically, it's going to be between Ethan and Connor. I am, at this point in the game, allowed to laugh as much as possible. If I need to come in because someone's getting skunked, Ethan, than we can to make it more fair. But we're going to start it off at least and maybe make the whole game with Ethan v. Connor. I will read some cheesy Christian jokes. And if you laugh, the other person gets a point, right? So if Ethan laughs, Connor gets a point. If Connor laughs, then...
What are we going to?
Let's plan on 5. And we'll see how
points?
quickly we get there.
Okay.
All right. Here, I'm going to start you guys off with a soft... Well, here, first one. This is just the test run. How does Moses make his coffee? He brews it. Nice. See? I figured that would be a softball. That's not going to get you guys.
I heard that one
All right,
before.
here we go. When is medicine first mentioned in the Bible? When God gave Moses 2 tablets. I love it, right? Perfect. All right. At what time of day did God create Adam? Just before Eve. It's pretty clever, right? I actually really like that one. I didn't think that one was that funny. I was like, that's for a sermon one day right there. All right, here we go. This is where we're gonna start to beef it up.
I have 2 faces. My constipated face.
Are you ready? This one's
Am
one
I
of my
holding
favorites.
a smile back face? Then am I getting that face?
How do you make holy water? You get regular water. And you boil the devil out of it.
I'm upset.
There's actually a much more intense version of that most of the comments on this one, people are like, are you kidding me?
Oh.
I laughed so hard just because it didn't say that. I was like, you just get regular water, and that's where I wanted to pause.
I almost lost it when you left it there.
Okay, you ready? Who is the greatest babysitter mentioned in the Bible? David. He rocked Goliath to a very deep sleep.
Oh no.
No, that one
No.
didn't do for you? I thought that was
No,
pretty good.
sir.
Did Eve have a date with Adam? No, just an apple.
Oh, that
An
was
apple instead
dumb.
of a date.
Next.
Okay.
Oh shoot!
Did you laugh? Oh, all right. 1 point. Connor.
Oh
There
come
you
on! I
go.
was laughing my own joke.
All right. Here we go. Who was the smartest man in the Bible? Abraham. He knew a lot. That one almost got Connor. I can see it. I can see it on his face.
Connor's
That was
almost.
good.
He's almost
That
out.
was good.
That was close.
All right, we gotta start to bust out the bigger guns. Okay, this one got me. What does God call his nose? Only God knows.
That's
Knows. Only God knows.
Oh, that's painful. That's painful, eh?
Okay, you ready?
It's a
Why
Canadian
did God
thing to say.
create man before woman? Because he didn't want any advice on how to do it.
No, you didn't.
Okay, no one laughed. I thought that might get
I'm
someone.
looking at you.
It would be rude if I laughed.
There you go. Hey,
Oh.
some respectable gentlemen
Oh.
here.
That beard is looking studly, by the way.
When is the first math homework problem mentioned in the Bible? When God told Adam and Eve to go forth and multiply.
Oh, come on. I knew you got more than a mustache scratch in there. Oh. I made a sound.
I think you're good. I didn't hear it loud.
Okay.
Oh, you ready? I went running with my Bible, and now my psalms are sweaty. Come on, you guys are impressive, man. Wow.
I feel like you get cracked up with
Dude,
with,
I do. I'm so
with
bad.
these
at
a little
this kind of
bit.
stuff. These are so good.
I feel like I think you'd lose this one.
Oh no, 110%. That's why I can't play. Who is the greatest comedian in the Bible? Samson. He brought the house down. Chiefy, you're better at this than I thought.
I heard a wheeze next to me.
Oh.
He's starting
Sure
to
you
crack
did. Sure you did.
like a potato in a shell.
And so God came forth and proclaimed, widescreen is the best. Sony 16:9. That's like super nerdy, but I think that's so funny.
That kind of hits.
One of the comments
That
literally
rings
just
my
says
bell.
blasphemy.
Oh, I heard a little something over there, sir.
Laugh, Connor? Yay, nay? I think he's keeping it together.
No, he is.
I don't know if I understand this. Oh, I'm an idiot. What's a missionary's favorite type of car? A convertible. That's good. Connor's icy stone. Did you like me not get that one at first?
I didn't get it at
Yeah, it
first.
took me a minute. I was like, a convertible? What are you talking about? For the listeners who
Oh,
might not
man.
get it, converts,
My soul
Christianity,
hurts.
missionaries.
I'm gonna lock
right?
myself in a closet after this and just laugh a little bit.
Oh, this is a heavy reality. I was thinking about how people seem to read the Bible a whole lot more as they get older. And then it dawned on me. They're cramming for their final exam.
Oh my goodness! Can you believe that, Connor? That's pretty entertaining, isn't it? It's kind of funny.
A little.
There's a little snicker. Nothing.
No.
Because I almost did. Okay.
I don't understand that one. I'm going to keep going. What's a miracle that can be done by a complainer?
Not complaining.
He can turn anything into wine. Connor just nods, bro. This is I almost said brutiful. Why did Moses cross the Red Sea?
To get to the other tide.
This literally just says to get to the other side. That's actually kind of better.
Oh,
You're more clever.
To get to the other. Oh my. Wait.
That's literally just what it says. I think it's an anti-joke.
That makes me almost. That makes it harder because it's not. That doesn't make sense, which makes it even more funny to me.
Oh my goodness. What excuse did Adam give to his children as to why he no longer lived in Eden? Your mother ate us out of house and home. Dude, you guys are ruthless. That's that's so funny.
Hold it together.
Man. Where is the first baseball game in the Bible? In the big inning.
No.
Eve stole first.
No.
Adam stole second.
Oh no.
Cain struck out Abel.
Oh.
The giants and the angels were rained out. Dude, that's clever. And the prodigal son made a home run. That's what one of the comments says. That's pretty good, right?
That's cute.
How long did Cain hate his brother? As long as he was able. I think it's so good.
This is intense.
Hey, if you need an arc, I know a guy.
Oh, because it's Noah. Oh.
Chiefy, you just stripped all the joy out of it.
I know.
I thought that might get Connor.
to keep
Trying
composure.
to get a feel for Connor's sense of humor. All right. We're going to do a few more. You guys are ruthless. And my goal now is to just get one of you to laugh. Because even your little
Okay.
chuckle, Chiefy, it wasn't even like a real laugh.
Okay.
I just want to full-blown break you.
Okay.
Here's actually what I'm going to do.
You know what breaks me though.
Here's what
And
I'm
it
gonna
doesn't
do.
take much.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to super briefly grab
Brief.
each of you a cup of water. You're going to take a big gulp, and whoever spits it
Mamacita.
out first on camera wins or loses. Okay. Let's see. Gotta find a good one.
Oh, I like this chlorine water.
Why couldn't the Israelites initially enter the promised land? It wasn't the pinky promised land. That's so dumb. I hope it's not that one you go out on. That is the dumbest one if that breaks you both. What did Adam say to Eve when handing her something to wear? Take it or leave it. I don't understand this. How do we know Moses wore a wig? Because sometimes he was with Aaron and sometimes he wasn't. It didn't make either of you laugh either. Maybe one of our viewers can explain it to me. Let's see. Why are there no Hondas in the Bible? Because Jesus never spoke of his own accord. That's a really niche. Oh, but it might get him. Nope. Okay. All right. Let's see. That's actually facts. Oh my. No. No. How do pastors like their orange juice? With pulpit. No? Come on. Moses had the first tablet that could connect to the cloud. Yo mama is so old that she's mentioned in the shout out at the end of the Bible. They're just talking about the book of Revelation. I don't know. What is that? Oh my goodness. What did Adam say on the day before Christmas? It's Christmas Eve. Chief is on his chin. Why did the unemployed man get excited when looking through his Bible? He thought he saw a job. The book of Job. On the ark, Noah probably got milk from the cows. What did he get from the ducks? Quackers. That might get him. Come on. What do you call the parts of the Bible without Moses? Mosent. Instead of Moses, Mosent. Oh my God. Oh, that's ridiculous. What type of car does Jesus drive? Chrysler. I like that one. Okay. What do pirates call Noah's boat? The Ark. I thought that would be better. That's dumb. Why did Boaz hate lying? Because he loved to Ruth. Instead of lying to Ruth. Truth. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was dumb too. Oh my goodness. No, why? Oh, so dumb. These are good. How funny. Why couldn't Jonah trust the ocean? Because he knew there was something fishy about it. It's not even funny. Oh my gosh. Where was Solomon's temple located? It was on the side of his head. I thought that might get you cheeky. No. Why didn't they play cards on the ark? Because Noah was standing on the deck. What animal could Noah not trust when playing cards? A cheetah. Really? That one? What kind of man was Boaz before he married? Ruthless. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What Bible character is a locksmith? Zacchaeus. What Bible character had no parents? Joshua, the son of Nun. That's pretty good. This is like a short story. At Sunday school, the children were learning how, according to the Bible, God created everything, including human beings. Johnny paid particular attention when the teacher told him how Eve was created out of one of Adam's ribs. Later that week, Johnny's mother found him lying on his bed as though he were ill and asked him, "Johnny, what's the matter?" Johnny replied, "I've got a pain in my side. I think I'm going to have a wife." Neither of you. I actually didn't think that was that funny. Which Bible character was the youngest to speak foul language? Job, because he cursed on the day he was born. It actually just says he cursed the day he was born. That's better than the way I phrased it. I'm not going to read that one. That's crazy. Absolutely not. But that's crazy. We know that one. I'm going to read 3 more. And if you guys hold out, then you guys win and I lose. Unless you have something to add.
Make your own joke.
Me make my own? Me
I feel like you could get something
could
out
do
of
better
us.
than these? I'll see you over the next
You know
3
my
questions.
humor. I think you know Connor's too. Oh, also
I
I need
do
a
have
mouth
one
stretch.
final. I do have one final trump card. Yeah, take a breath.
Okay.
Last 3. Here we go. None of these make sense. Did you just read that one? Okay. Who is the shortest man in the Bible? Nehemiah. Come on. Come on. I thought that was so dumb. Nehemiah. I gotta capitalize on that. Oh my gosh. That noise is disgusting. Oh gosh. I don't understand some of these. Why wouldn't Pharaoh let the Hebrews go? He was in denial. Really? Nehemiah did for you and stuff like that doesn't. I don't even understand you, TV. Oh my goodness, no. What do they call pastors in Germany? German shepherds. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm going to try to wrap this up with just one comment and see if it breaks either of you. Earlier, listeners, as we were wrapping up the day, we have a lovely gentleman named Russ Merrick who volunteers here on Tuesdays, and Connor normally helps him with the cleaning. And Russ's parting words for Connor as we concluded Connor's last day serving here was, as they finished vacuuming, Connor, remember when you think back on this job. And he holds up the vacuum and he simply says, it sucks. And if that doesn't do it, folks, I don't know what will, other than maybe knee-high mine. I feel like if I say it enough, Chiefy's going to break. Oh, my goodness. Oh, well, CCB, I'll be straight. That game did not play out the way that I thought. These two are both way too good. But hopefully that gave you some laughs. And if not, well, I'm the only one, and I had a great time with it. So with that, we will pick up with our game next week, or our next podcast. I don't know what it's going to be on or what it's planned, but thanks for tuning in. And as we close it out, take these house. Still nothing. Peace.
Ugh.